time for a little Dallas Mavericks mailbag here on Mavericks Today. Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein. We take your questions about once a week. So if you have any good ones in the comments, or if you want to hit Coop up on Twitter, you can do that and fire away for a future show. All right, Coop, you got this from Sean. Yes. He says, do you think the Mavs would have a better chance to beat the Celtics if the Mavs played the Celtics in the final again next season than they did last year, which, of course, they lost in 5 games? Thoughts?
I kind of think so. I think they're better equipped to beat the Celtics now than they were last year. I think the addition of Klay Thompson, adding that additional shooting threat that the Celtics would have to respect, would really help the Mavs in the long run, on the offensive end especially. And then you have Derek Lively in year 2, Daniel Gafford in year 2 of the system, and everyone just has more familiarity with everyone. There is no way Kyrie plays as bad as he did in the finals. So I do think the Mavs would have a better chance. Does that mean I would pick them? Not necessarily, but a better chance, I absolutely think so.
Yeah, I think they'd have a better shot. You would think Klay's shooting would help. And to your point, like a guy like Derek Lively taking steps forward. Like you look at Boston right now, they don't really have guys that are ascending. Now maybe could a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown find another gear? Possibly, but like Holiday's a year older. Horford's certainly a year older. Porzingis is already banged up. I mean, would he even be available? That's always a question mark. So you would think you'd have a better shot. I still think Boston would clearly be favored in that series, but maybe the games are tighter. Maybe it's more like a 6-game series. So we'll see. I'm hopeful the Mavs have closed at least some of that gap and get a second shot at it if that opportunity presents itself for both teams.
If there is a finals rematch, who are you guys taking? Type DAL for the Mavs, BOS for the Celtics. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So when you get hit with a YouTube ad break, which you will in just a couple of seconds, go on down there and get your votes in. Who would you take, the Mavs or the Celtics?
Let's go to D-Boy. He says, love how Dallas is a destination now. Spence literally threw shots at us last season. Chase chose a whole other team and still ended up here. Wouldn't be surprised if we became a super team in the future. Gotta love what Nico is doing. Yeah, I mean, Nico has done a nice job. We've outlined that a lot this offseason. Clearly, he's a relationships guy. People like him. This team does feel like a destination now. And, yeah, I mean, we've talked about Dinwiddie too, Coop. Pretty probably bad decision on his part to choose the Lakers.
And I think he realizes that.
I don't know if it would have made a huge difference on the fly last year, but it wouldn't have hurt Dallas as they tried to win the NBA Finals, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, look, super team. What is a super team nowadays? I think it's harder to, build a Warriors type of team. I think Boston thinks they're in the midst of that. We'll see.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think – I don't know about the phrase super team, Coop, but I think a team that's built to last is definitely on the table.
Absolutely. I saw a clip from Mark Cuban. He was on Shannon Sharpe's podcast talking about this is the exact reason why he brought in Nico Harrison, because he's a relationship guy. He brought in Kyrie Irving, not the least of which because he's a great player, but he's a relationship guy as well and is very well respected around the league. And that was the main reason they were able to get Klay Thompson away from the Golden State Warriors to come to the Mavericks. The Mavs are built on relationships now, and when you have that in your front office, in your back pocket, it's going to help you a lot in the long run. And like you said, I don't know what a super team looks like in today's NBA given all the luxury tax rules and whatnot, but are the Mavs well positioned for success in the future? I think absolutely, and that is largely due to what Nico Harrison's built here over the last 3 years.
I know it's early on in the Nico era, but, I don't know if I just had, a brain blast or what, but, it's not hard to figure out why he's convinced people to play here and Donnie Nelson wasn't. Donnie Nelson, nice guy, decent evaluator. Does he strike you as someone who can chop up an entertaining conversation or that you'd want to go have a beer with? I'd much rather have a beer with Nico Harrison. And that's just on the outside looking in, just in terms of, who, seems more engaging. And, I'm not trying to say, this guy's better than that, but it's it kind of makes sense from just and all professional sports, all top businesses, it's about communication.
Yes.
It's about building relationships. And clearly Nico does that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been as high up at Nike of all places. So
Nico knows everyone. I mean, Klay Thompson was never even a Nike athlete, and he had a relationship with Nico. It's his voice and his stature is just very well respected around the NBA, and it absolutely his position the Mavs to be one of the powerhouses in the NBA going forward. 100%.
No doubt about it. Show some love to Nico Harrison. Hit the like button on today's show, as Coop and I have been very impressed, and hopefully the positive vibes and success continues.
Absolutely.
Go to the next question here. Alex says, shh, don't tell anyone. Need to stay under the radar. This Mavs team is the best in the West. OKC, Denver, Wolves, Phoenix may end the season with better records. Not sure about Phoenix. We'll see. But the Mavs showed how little that matters last season. Celtics, again, very good in the East. Rematch, I like our chances. Yeah, I think the only team that on paper also took a notable step forward in the West was OKC. A, all their guys are young, so you would think they would continue to improve. And B, even if he's just kind of a high-level role player, Hartenstein for that team, his play style is kind of exactly what they needed.
Absolutely.
Denver got worse on paper. T-Wolves, similar, but like Gobert's not going to be as good.
Gobert's not going to be as good, but maybe Edwards takes a step up.
Yeah, so that probably evens out. Phoenix, I did like the point guard edition. Tyus Jones.
Yeah.
I think that's a sneaky good ad, but is that the difference in being a fringe playoff team and the 4 seed? I guess we'll see.
I'm never going to believe in Devin Booker being a number 1 on a team that can get to the finals, even though I know he did it and I saw it. I just still never believe
Yeah, and KD at this point is just kind of a number 2 that scores a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people out there do think Dallas-Boston rematch is on the table. The betting odds would probably say OKC, but yeah, Dallas, if things gel properly, are firmly in the mix once again to represent the Western Conference.
I think the Mavs are the best team in the Western Conference. I think they got better this offseason, and I know OKC did as well, but the Mavs dispatched OKC in the postseason, so if both got better, that would tell me that the Mavs are still the slightly better team. I do think OKC is very good, and they're probably second best. I would go Denver after that, followed by Minnesota, and then maybe Phoenix as well. The West is going to be hard still, but I do think the Mavs are at the top of the West Mountain right now until proven otherwise.
What do you guys think? Are the Mavs the best team in the Western Conference? Yes or no? Give us your thoughts down below. Get yourself a Real One t-shirt if you're still watching at this point in the show. That makes you a Real One if you want to represent Mavericks today and chat sports. We got different colors available. You can go with like the deep blue. You got the Mavs green there as well. Go traditional black. Tons of different other colors out there as well. Chatsports.com/Real One. That link is in the description of this video. Let's go to Johnny here. He says, I think Lawson brings more value to this team over Morris. I also think Edwards, Sharpe, and Omax need to be held on to, as I think Edwards could earn some minutes. If Sharpe isn't ready, then you put him in the G League, and Kidd chooses Lawson or Morris. Let's go Mavs. A lot to get in here Coop.
I want to focus first on the Jamarion Sharpe thing because you kind of forget about him.
Yeah.
The Mavs had him in the summer league. He's on an Exhibit 10 deal right now, so he's going to go into camp and the preseason with the Mavs. He's a guy with some upside, Harrison. He can block shots, and when you can do that in the NBA, you're going to find a role. I would be surprised if the Mavs didn't find a role for him, whether it be in the G League or maybe even on that final two-way spot.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were vouching for him after the G League. I think the main takeaway from the G League was, one, Omax still has a long way to go, and two, this Sharpe kid is pretty intriguing with his size and decent athleticism. To circle back to the start of this, I disagree on the Lawson and Morris. Sure, if they played a one-on-one, I would pick A.J. Lawson to beat him, but neither guy's in the rotation. So give me the guy that is a veteran leader, has been through the battles. Clearly, they value him in that locker room. And I'm not saying they don't like A.J. Lawson, but he just doesn't have the skins on the wall, and his voice doesn't carry the weight that Markieff Morris's does.
Yep.
So it's not personal. Again, Lawson as a guy, if you had to play one of them, you would rather play A.J. Lawson, but he's your 15th guy. If you ever have to play him, that's probably
in trouble.
it's garbage time, or you've got like 4 or 5 guys hurt. So, I'd have to disagree with that. I am intrigued with Kessler Edwards, but
fine, whatever. He's on a two-way. He could get some minutes in those garbage times or games where people are resting for load management.
Maybe he develops in Frisco.
he doesn't bring much to the table to me as far as I'm concerned. I am intrigued about Jamarion Sharpe, though, and I wonder what you guys think. Will he make the final roster as a two-way, or will he just be straight in the G League? Type R for roster or G for G League? I think he has a chance to make this roster out of camp. I really do.
Yeah, I'd like to give him a two-way spot to kind of secure him within your organization, because if he's just on the G League, then any team can sign him at any point. So if he does some good things in camp and whatnot, I'd like to give him a two-way spot. Obviously, AJ Lawson factors in as well. If they cut him and want to keep him around on a two-way and he doesn't have a better option elsewhere, he could take that spot. So got to see how it all plays out, but definitely excited to see what he can do. And camp just a few days away, so should be intriguing.
The next time we talk to you, the Mavs Media Day will have concluded, and we'll have takeaways from that, and Mavs basketball will pretty much officially be back. So can't wait for that. Stay tuned, stay locked into the channel. We'll have you covered with everything Mavs Media Day coming up next week.
Let's go. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you then.